Getting up early on a cruise has wonderful benefits. I got to witness sunrises, and in this case, the pilot boat. The pilot boat, and I'm assuming, is going to position us to safely hop on a tender. And off we go. The tender takes you from the boat to Princess Cay's, given the water is too shallow to traditionally dock at the port. We have to take tenders. The wife and I, along with our kids, boarded early while the rest of our crew went back to get ready for today's adventure. It's amazing how big the boat feels when you are directly next to it. The Carnival Elation is 855 feet long and weighs 70,000 tons. It's amazing how big it is. 13 decks high. What a sight. Taking tenders is one of my favorite ways to access a port. It's overly beautiful and you get an up-close and personal view of the boat and the water. Look at the deep blue color of the ocean. If you look out farther, you can see the color changes as it begins to get more and more shallow. This is truly amazing. Now, I suggest sitting on the side. If you sit on the side, you get that nice mist of ocean water from the boat as it glides ashore, although it really seemed me and another gentleman were truly enjoying this part of the tender ride, so that's all up to you. Now, the tender ride was short and it felt like it only took 5 or 6 minutes. Look at this beautiful emerald green water. The water is top 2 for me in all my Bahama adventures so far, right behind Half Moon Cay. I have heard things about Princess Cay that I'll admit has put a negative light on the port, but judging from just the water so far, this place is absolutely stunning. As the tender stopped, I could feel the excitement coming over me. We had previously been to Celebration Key the day before, and considering our kids are 18 and up, it wasn't our favorite place. I do enjoy beaches and beautiful scenery over water parks, and don't get me wrong, it had all of that, but I'm hoping Princess Cay is better in the beach and scenery department. Now, let's get to getting off the tender. It is actually a super easy process. There's no major trip hazards or having to jump onto a dock. It's all done with ramps and appeared to be very accessible for all. As you can see, there was young, there was old, there was big, there was little, and everybody easily exited the tender. Now, if you're having any anxieties or doubts about the tender, I can assure you it's a very easy process. As soon as you walk into the port, it's the typical theme, shops, crew members with cameras, and I do suggest taking as many pictures as you can with the ones you love. Even if you think you don't want them, take them anyways. It's fun, and you just might fall in love with them later. As you can see, everybody is rushing towards the beach. That's because in Princess Cay, a lot of the beach chairs are flipped on their side. I asked the lifeguard if I could flip them over and use them, but he said they are only for rentals, so you actually have to rent a chair. Now, there were chairs that you could sit in. They were farther down the beach, but there was plenty of them. We had no problem getting one. So, there's that. As I made my way through port, I took notice at all the shops. Lots of bags and hats, t-shirts, keychains, and a lot of touristy items that you often see at other ports. And to be honest, a lot of it was priced kind of high in my opinion. I couldn't tell if these were all Carnival-owned shops, but I would assume so, as several of the booths sold Princess Cay branded items. Everything appeared to be clean and easy to walk up to, and for those in wheelchairs, I did notice that Princess Cay's offered the big stand wheelchairs for those who had mobility issues. There are plenty of things to do for the littles as well. If you continue to follow the path a few minutes, you will come upon some of the kid stuff, including a swimming pool. Now this swimming pool is only 2 feet deep and has a lifeguard. Of course, I don't suggest leaving your kid at the pool, of course, but it's nice to see that the activities for kids have employees around to make sure they are safe. There is also a big playground and a sandbox. When I asked my niece, Anastasia, who is 4, she said that her favorite thing wasn't the ocean, it wasn't the pool, it wasn't any of that. She loved the sandbox, just like the sand at her school. Man, I need to go visit her school. Look at these views. This is like a postcard. Every corner I turn and everywhere I look, all I see is beauty. This place is really amazing, and I haven't even touched the water yet. Just the views, the scenery is absolutely astonishing. I've been to the Bahamas before, but every time it just blows me away. The water is something special. It's so transparent, you can see to the ocean floor all the way until it changes to the darker blue color. I've heard many people say it's a rocky beach, but to be honest, I don't think so. There was some bigger sandstone type rocks, but it was far less rocky than what I experienced at Celebration Key. I do always suggest wearing water shoes just to keep your feet safe, but maybe I was just a little further down the beach and the rocks faded out, but I had a good experience with it being a great sandy beach. I did in fact walk along the populated areas just to see if maybe it got rockier, but in the very shallow areas where the kids were playing, I saw no evidence of any rocks or other items that would make it undesirable. The beach had plenty of lifeguards on notice as well as lifeguards on jet skis patrolling the water a little further out. This beach clearly took water safety very seriously. Everyone appeared to be focused on their jobs and were scanning the waters looking for possible incidents. Everyone here seemed to be having a blast, from the kids to the adults. This place is just simply amazing. I did also notice there was plenty of shade spots up on the beach, and the shops offered a place to cool down a little if you got a little too hot. But you could always take a dip in the water. Now, the water itself was a little cold when you first step into it, but once you submerge yourself, it's just fine. Now, there are several areas where bigger rocks extend out, and they have little deck areas on them. I was pretty excited to get on them for the view of the water and the boat, but there's signs posted everywhere that say these are for lifeguards only, so when you see them, they prefer you stay off of the rocks and the lifeguard decks. I didn't see anyone get on them, but if you could, I'm not saying you should, but if you could, they would offer an amazing picture opportunity of the boat. Now, I have heard that some of these nice shaded pavilions are free. You just have to get there early to claim them. We were like the third or so tender off the boat after the excursion groups, and they were all claimed. There were plenty of rentable areas, but from what I understand, and I could be wrong, if you want a prime free shaded spot, you better be up early and on deck 4 ready to exit that boat fast so you can claim a good spot. Now, as you just saw, if you walk a little towards the back area of Princess Cay, they have an awesome lookout tower you can access that gives you a great view of the beach and the boat. It has proven to be a wonderful spot for pictures and those looking to create lasting memories. A little past that is where you will find the lagoon. This lagoon offers kayak tours to see the more in-depth view of the inner island. The water in the lagoon is beautiful, and I noticed a crab trap set up that had live crabs in it. I'm unsure what these are for, but I did notice there was some kind of cleaning station right next to the crab trap that had a knife stuck into it. There was no one around at this area, and the kayaks were all on a tour, and the knife was accessible to anyone who wanted to grab it. We decided to climb the lookout tower and see the sights. If you have a problem climbing multiple steps, this is not the place for you because it is a few stories high. But once you get to the top, the sights are to be seen. You can see all directions, but some of the palm trees block the view here and there. There is a good shot of the boat, but the boat seems like it's far away, and it'll probably look a little small in the background. While swimming, 2 people in my party were stung by an unidentified object or a sea creature. Some people claimed it was like a small stick thing that resembled a gar. Maybe it was fire coral or something of that nature. I don't know. But we went to the first aid shack where they treated both members using vinegar. My son's girlfriend said her pain subsided almost immediately after the vinegar, and the other member of our party had it a little worse. His was whelped up, and he had to take some meds that made him a little drowsy, and he eventually went back to the boat, but seemed to be fine. The people at the first aid shack were awesome. They addressed us immediately and took care of business, told us exactly what to expect, what we should do. So naturally, we went to eat. The line was a bit long and it didn't move very fast, but as you could see, that gave us time to meet new people and socialize while waiting to get to the food. Workers walked the lines and they handed out plates and utensils. We actually got wooden utensils. They were pretty cool. My mom, she got plastic. Now, there were 2 separate lines serving the same food on each side, so it wasn't going so slow that it could be complained about or anything like that. It just wasn't as fast as, say, the lines on the boat. Now, the day that we went, they had some rice, some chicken that you would put on the rice, burgers, some veggies, hot dogs, a few sweets, water, juice, and of course fruits. The kitchen crew kept everything stocked up so nothing was running out, and it actually went pretty smoothly for what it was. When it came to seating arrangements, I felt like there wasn't a ton of seating, but I don't think everyone goes to eat at the same time, so it probably isn't that big of an issue. We had the seating and we ate comfortably, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. After we all ate, we waited for the rest of our group and decided to check out some of the shops. Most of the shops are up toward the front of the resort, so we had to make the short walk up there. Now, there are a lot of smaller shops to check out if you're into fun touristy type items like fun Jamaican style hats, shirts with funny sayings, Bahama logo shirts, knickknacks, shot glasses, everything you could possibly think of. But I will say, in port, everything is a little pricey. I paid almost $20 for 2 shot glasses, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. Now, if you are into getting your hair braided, there are a very few nice ladies that were braiding hair all day. Although they did ask me if I wanted my hair braided, and I'm bald, so I should have actually seen what they could do. They might have worked some wonders for me. When we entered the main shop, the first thing we noticed is that they had a lot of fans and it was pretty cool inside. They had a lot of items that were branded with Princess Cay's name and logo, which was exactly what I was looking for. They also had rum cakes and drinks, various other items to look at. The shop sold shirts and hoodies, but I felt like they were very overpriced, upwards of almost $30 a shirt. That was a little too much for me, so we decided to pass. I do believe they had buy two for a certain price specials that made it more affordable, but still a little out of my price range. My wife was disappointed because she loves to grab a shirt from all the ports we stop at, but that was a tad bit too much. So the store was big, had lots of items that caught my eye, like these cigars. A good friend of mine, Chris Huss, loves cigars, but these were like $40 cigars. So sorry, Chris, you're not getting a cigar this time. Now, I could have took a lot of stuff home if I had the budget, so this wasn't the only shop either. There was another brick and mortar style shop that I saw was close by, but I didn't get to go inside that because, unfortunately, I assumed they had the same stuff, and I was probably wrong and missed out on the best deals for shirts, surely. As our day was coming to an end, even though it was only around 1 p.m. and the port was open until around 3:30, people were still flowing in to see the sights. Before we left, we had to do what the cruise directors always tell you not to do, and that is leave the privately owned area and exit the gates. Every port we go to, my family and I generally hop on a city bus, a taxi, or take a tour from a local guide and hit the towns. This time the market was set up directly outside of the gates, as the nearest town is a little too far away to travel to when the boat's last call was just a few hours away. You can enter and exit the gate with an ID and your sign and sail card. They never checked our ID, so it was pretty easy to come in and out. Now, they do have guards and signs that tell you about re-entry and fines and other things of that nature, so be aware that when outside these gates, you are no longer protected by the cruise ship, and it's kind of at your own risk type of thing, but this place was completely safe, and we didn't feel threatened or anything of that nature while there. It's literally on the other side of the resort. The lagoon here is beautiful. It drains to the ocean, and there are tons of fish and turtles and other beautiful sea life that you could see from the dock next to George's Bar and Grill. Now, let me tell you about George's Bar and Grill. This place is the hidden gem of Princess Cay. George is wonderful, friendly, and he cooks a mean conch fritter. His menu offers a variety of Bahama-style foods, and it's all super affordable. Conch fritters for $5. Conch salad that was similar to ceviche was $10, and you can't beat that. Plus beer. I forgot the beer is only $5. And you might say, whoa, that's not cheap. Well, it is compared to the $8 a beer on the other side of the gate. Now, the line was growing longer, and I stood around checking this place out, but I figured I'd better jump in there and make my order. So we had some conch salad, some beer, some sodas, and a few other items to try out, and I have to say that everything was forking good, and George is that dude. Now, for the parents. And believe me, I know from experience with my own kids. I noticed several people drinking. You know, they had Coronas, they had Heinekens, and they didn't quite look 21. I even noticed my own son and his buddy, who are 18, were there before us, and they had Heinekens and Coronas. So in the Bahamas, you only have to be 18 to drink. If you are inside the gates, it's still 21. So if you wonder why your 18 to 20-year-old have disappeared all day, that's because they're hanging out with George taking advantage of the law. Hey, it is what it is, I assume. So everything you see here cost me roughly $25. Round up with the $5 tip, and I spent about $30. That's actually a little cheaper than a t-shirt inside the port. So I handed out the drinks, and I thanked George for his hospitality. If you go to Princess Cay and have a few extra bucks to spend on food and you want the real thing, I suggest going outside the gates and hitting up my new friend George. It may seem scary at first leaving the gates, but I promise you it's just right there. You can actually see the back of his building against the gate when you leave the tender. George is a genuine guy running a legit business that depends on cruise ship passengers. He needs your business. So I took my Modelo and my conch salad, and I took a moment to reflect on the beauty of this place and how lucky I am to be in this position to experience such a luxury. The views here are to die for. I was once told that locals see this every day and look right past it. Instead, they dream of scenes like rolling hills and cornfields, the same things that I look past every single day. We all have our own idea of paradise, and I can assure you this is mine, and I'm so fortunate and grateful that I have the chance to be here. As we were leaving George, we decided to stop at some of the markets and some of the shops. Now, these shirts here were way cheaper than inside the gates. They had hats, they had just about everything inside the gate, except it wasn't branded with the Princess Cay logo, but that was okay. From what I noticed, there was no official carnival merchandise out here. It was all locally sourced merch, which is also awesome because it's good to always help the community and the locals when you're at places like this. We ended up grabbing 2 t-shirts that were roughly $12 a piece. They also had some little bags that had money from the Bahamas in it, which I collect money, so I grabbed some of that as well. As we left, we had to go back through the gates. We pulled out our IDs and we pulled out our sign and sale cards, but like I said before, they did not check the IDs. They just looked at our sign and sale cards and let us in. As you can see, there was a little cart. I'm not sure if they will take you in and out on the cart. Maybe these guys were coming from a excursion, I am unsure, but we did not see a cart. We had to walk. Anyways, they let us right in, as you can see, no problems, and back through the gates into Princess Cay. Very beautiful place. Outside the gates, I suggest you go there. And if you notice here, a bunch of under 21 people headed outside the gates. You know what for. So leaving port was super easy. There was plenty of signage that directed you where to go, and I just kind of followed another lady and found my way out. The process was pretty simple. All you had to do was stand in line, but as you could see, there was no line in this instance, and they checked your bags and you walked through a metal detector, but that was basically it. We even bought several of those happy face drinks, and no one said anything about taking them with us. I could have bought a case of those things. They are absolutely fire. And my nephew, he pounded down at least a gallon of them before he started to share with us. He is a happy face fiend. So we loaded the tender and prepared to make our way back to the boat. I can say that sometimes you do have to wait for a tender to come back, but they're always in rotation and it's never a long wait. I really hated to go as I really enjoyed the beach here. Very relaxing and a lot less chaotic than Celebration Key. It's definitely top 2 in my destinations so far in the Bahamas, and it's just so beautiful sitting on this water. The color is absolutely gorgeous, and being able to see to the bottom so far is mind-blowing. You can literally stand on the side of the tender, look into the water, see fish. We saw stingrays. The guy next to us said that when he was out in the water, he seen a small barracuda. Just so much wildlife, ocean life, and everything to see here. It's almost so much that you don't have enough time to take in. You know, getting to be on this island with my mom, my brother, my niece and nephew, my wife and my kids, as they're getting older, it was really truly amazing. And as we pulled farther away from the shore, the island's color just began to fade into the deepest blues of the ocean. The sun was casting a warm glow over everything. It was a moment of reflection, really, of gratitude that no matter where life takes us, we'd always have this time together, the islands and the memories of the perfect family adventure. I really had a great time, and I'm glad I got to do it with my immediate family right there with me. So the gentle hum of the tender engine reminded me that the day wasn't over yet. We still had plenty of adventures to go. It was just another chapter in this particular incredible journey. And as we approached the ship, I knew this wouldn't be the last adventure we share as a family. I certainly hope it wouldn't be, but it would always be one of the most cherished, one of the funnest, one of the best, and definitely top 2 favorite spots in the Bahamas. Peace, y'all.